If your participant doesn't see this frame at the end of your experiment, then their data has not been saved. In this tutorial, I'll go over ways to ensure that your participants reach the final frame so that their data is saved. The experiment designer has to enable one or more keys to allow for the transition between the last frame of the experiment and this final frame right here. I'll go over a few different experiments to demonstrate this concept. This is an experiment with no final frame. This is the beginning of the experiment. This is supposed to be the actual experiment, and this is the end of the experiment. Notice how there's no enabled keys for me to press, so I can't get to the final frame, and so my data cannot be saved. If you look here, it says 0 people have taken the experiment. If my data was recorded, then this number should increase to 1 when I reload the page. But it doesn't because my data was not saved. Let me show you an experiment that can reach the final frame. This is the beginning of the experiment. This is the supposed experiment. And this frame is the warning frame for the participant. It's a good idea to let your participant know that their data will only be saved if they press the key on the last frame of your experiment. And now we're at the last frame of the experiment. Once I press spacebar, I'll reach the final frame. And this is how you know that your data has been saved. The counter here is at 9, and once I reload the page, it goes up to 10. Another way to make sure that the data is saved is by making the last frame a part of the actual experiment. This means that the last frame of your experiment is part of the data you're collecting. Let me quickly show you what I mean. This is the beginning of the experiment, and the next 5 frames will be the actual experiment. There won't be any frames after the actual experiment, so the data will be saved once the participant performs the last task. Let me show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this frame is the last task. And once I input a response, I go straight to the final frame. And when I reload the page, the counter goes from 13 to 14. Hope this helped.